Hi, I'm Brian Euler with Pioneer Builders. Welcome to another episode of The Build Show. This video is sponsored by Warehouse. In this particular jurisdiction, I worked with the code official because I don't know if they've ever seen an unvented crawl space. So that's another thing that you have to factor in. What they're making us do here, which I didn't have to do in a different jurisdiction, is actually have horizontal insulation coming out on the flat. So in this case, in talking it over with him, we're doing an R10. I don't know that the building science requires it. And in talking with the gentleman at Mason County, he acknowledged, basically, he's like, Brian, you have a reputation for knowing this stuff. Our frost depth is only 12 inches. So if you think about that here, that's about 12 inches. If you have 6 inches down to soil, that's where we're at as far as frost depth. The lower you get, the more stable the temperature is. So you're not going to be getting a huge delta from the inside to the outside, and our insulation is going to come all the way down here. While I don't think the science requires us to do what they're saying, he's got a legitimate concern that he is beholden to the building code and his interpretation of it. So anyway, just a nice kind of a side trip there. Work with your inspector, be willing to be flexible and reasonable, while also gently pushing back when necessary. It's a balance. If anything, it's an art, because you are dealing with real people. And anyway, in this case, this is what we're going to have to do. Now, one other thing that we're going to do is we, in a sense, invented a new floor system. Normally, we wouldn't have to have insulation behind our floor joists. Normally, we have our diaphragm sitting on top, our floor diaphragm. In this case, remember earlier I talked to you about that massive difference in elevation from one side to the other? We're going to have our floor joist sitting inside here. So what we're going to do, this is going to get cut down. Timmy built this footing to be thicker. We're going to use this to support the floor system. So it'll be a post and beam system on this side. Over the top, they'll have their mud sill, and then they'll tie it all together over the top with Huber Advantech X-Factor subfloor. So that's going to tie it up there. The vertical gravity loads will be picked up, traced down to the foundation. The insulation is going to basically be cut around this. So you can see how much insulation we have here. It was delivered on these pallets. It's all wrapped. I'm going to go ahead and pull this down and give you an idea. So yeah, when it comes to materials specifications or for the actual amount that you require, you have to think in terms of what gets delivered and how it gets packaged. So here is the PowerWool rigid mineral wool insulation, Rigiboard 80. You can see what it says on here. Energy saving, recycled content, very rigid. So this product isn't going to be like your typical bad insulation that goes in your stud cavities. Thermal resistance, let's see, R4.2 per inch. So this here is 2 inches, so 4.2 per inch. If you just do 2 times that, that's going to be 8.4. That's going to leave me just a little bit shy of that R10 that I require. So you might have to double this up. You just have to figure that out with what you're actually able to get on site. And I'll just go ahead and show you what it looks like. So in this package, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is what the insulation looks like. You can see it is very much a board type product. If I had to, I could probably snap it. I'm not going to cut it or anything like that. We'll leave it in full pieces for the guys to make use over there. Okay, so when it comes to actually installing it, I'm not going to install it. Let me run down into the garage just to give you a little bit of a mock-up. So we were inside the crawl space already. Just imagine that we've got our vapor barrier in here. This is going to go just vertically up against it. So you've got your rigid board up against the foundation. You take your Aerosmith, basically it's a cap fastener gun, pierce it through, pull the trigger, and it pins. There's other ways you can do this. You could do powder actuated. I think that the Aerosmith gun is so amazing, super easy to use. It holds it in nicely, pretty limited thermal bridging as far as the material is concerned. The other advantage is powder actuated is a whole nother ball of wax when it comes to safety and things that you have to keep in consideration there. So anyway, that's how this gets installed, and you just cut it and fit it, and it's pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and show you on a computer what it looks like and maybe just one or two other things on the warehouse.com website.